The longest-running off-road and action motorsports radio show on the planet is coming to you live with the biggest guest in motorsports. Here is the only man on the planet who can pack this much dirt slinging and tire slaying into 2 hours a week. Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to get your ears blown. Here is Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
What up? Jim Beaver here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. We are firing on all 8 cylinders today. Locked, loaded, ready to have an amazing show. Crazy, we go off one of the biggest motorsports weekends of the year a couple of days ago, and then boom, right into this weekend where crickets, it's dead. It's Easter weekend. Not a damn thing going on. So, we're going to try and fill the gap today on the Down and Dirty Radio Show and bring you all kinds of motorsports coverage. It's going to carry you through the Easter weekend where there is, yes, just crickets. So, locked and loaded today. I've got 3 shows, obviously. If you haven't checked out my other show, the Off-Road Edition, that's dropping tomorrow. We got Project Action on Thursday. Lots of great guests coming up. But today, on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, we've got the newest Red Bull Motorsports driver, Mr. Blade Hildebrand. I've known Blade's family for quite some time. We got Mr. Blade calling into the show. He's going to tell us about his new Red Bull Deal Stadium Super Trucks, his trip down to South America for the Dakar Rally this last winter, and all things desert racing and everything else he's got going on. We got Tiffany Stone. She was on site at Richmond for the NASCAR race. And then we've also got NASCAR driver Amber Balcaen calling in hour number 2. And Amber, she is driving this weekend with the lone motorsports event that I know that's actually happening on Easter weekend. She's going to be driving for Busch Motorsports. That's right, Mr. Kyle Busch hiring Amber Balcaen to wheel a late model for him this weekend. So definitely going to catch up with Amber in hour number 2. Not only that, but I've got my newest set of power rankings, and I got to tell you, this was a big weekend. So yes, we are full throttle today on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Also got some massive Dakar Rally news that we're going to break right here on the show. Not break, it came out yesterday, but talk about, get into depth in this first segment. So lots going on today on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Next 2 hours, they are slam full. You don't want to go anywhere, and we'll be back after this short commercial break. Want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on 4 wheels? The Polaris Razor brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris Razor because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team Razor because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris Razor because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris Razor because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRazor.com or follow at Polaris Razor on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance, responsiveness, and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Oh, man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code Jim Beaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code Jim Beaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a funeral.
Still one of my all-time favorite spots we've run. Definitely check out my boys at mymedic.com. Use that code Jim Beaver. It'll get you 15% off the best first aid kits in the world. Literally in the world. Seriously. They got something for everybody. Whether you're outdoors, motorsports, razor guy, dirt biker, hunter, fisherman, whatever you do, My Medic got you covered. Jim Beaver, 15% off. And, this was it was a crazy weekend, right? We got some Dakar news to get to in a minute, but really there was kind of like two major things happening, right? Long Beach Grand Prix, and nobody paid any attention to the NASCAR race. Like, what? NASCAR? It's on? Long Beach, right? Well, Long Beach, they call it the Monaco of the United States, right? The Monaco Grand Prix. It is. It's like the place. If you've never been to the Long Beach Grand Prix, it's one of those weird events where you can actually go and never watch the race and still be completely entertained. Like legit rad concerts. It's like a massive car show festival. I don't know. There's everything. Like Long Beach, it's worth the price of admission. Not only that, but it's rad racing. You got stadium super trucks and everything else that goes along with it. But Long Beach is its own special animal, and if you've never been, it's one of those bucket list events. And I say events because that is truly what it is. And the reason why it's so big, not only is it in Southern California, and the weather is beautiful in April there, but it's an event, something for everybody. You can take the kids and they're going to be totally stoked, whatever. It's what motorsports needs to be to stay healthy, and Long Beach nails it each and every freaking year, that's for sure. So Long Beach was going on, and then you had, that little show coming back after like 18 months off called Game of Thrones. Yes, if you listen to Project Action, I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan, and so I don't know. I can talk Game of Thrones on this show, right? Yes, I can, because it's my show and I can do whatever the hell I want. So, if you actually, I would like to hear from the listeners here at Jim Beaver 15. Hit me up on Twitter. I would like to know: do you listen or do you watch Game of Thrones? Are you a fan of Game of Thrones? I've been thinking about how the hell I can actually get one of those, get the Iron Throne, like a replica, and put it in my office here in my studio. I think it would be so freaking rad. I know there's some people that have made some replicas. I want to know, like, I've got budget to buy this thing. Actually, I don't have budget to buy it, but I'm going to create budget to buy it. But I want an Iron Throne in the studio. I think that would make for some rad pictures when people stop by for interviews and stuff like that. Like make guests sit in the Iron Throne. How rad would that be? But anyways, yes, massive Game of Thrones fan here. If you watched it, hit me up at JimBeaver15. We'll carry on the conversation on social media because I don't know. We're not going to dedicate a whole show to talking about Game of Thrones. Maybe we'll get into that on Project Action. But I don't know. I was impressed. Kind of one of those after 18 months off. You expected fireworks. We didn't necessarily get that, but I think it set the stage for the whole rest of series, for this last season, the finale. So I don't know. Wishful thinking for episode 2. I think things are going to fire up in episode 2, and we're going to have some fireworks. So it was definitely solid. Solid 18 months off. Way to get back into things for sure. So but one of the big things, we'll talk about Long Beach Grand Prix and our power rankings and everything that happened there in Long Beach. We got to address the monkey in the room. If you watch that, Graham Rahal, my boy Graham Rahal, massive IndyCar fan, right? I'm a Graham Rahal fan. Scott Dixon, love Scott Dixon, but I got to tell you, Graham was screwed. They called him for blocking on the last lap. He lost his podium spot 3rd to 4th. We knew he was slower, but when you're the faster car from behind, like legit, like you got to force your way through. This is auto racing. Graham, was he blocking? Yeah, Graham said, I was blocking. He knew he was slower. His tires were shot, but you got to be a race car driver. My tires suck. We're just going to pull over and let Dixon go by. No, that's not what you do. Of course he was blocking. That's what you do when you're a race car driver. And if you're the faster guy and you're in behind, you got to bring your A game and try and force the issue if you want on the podium. Graham, my boy, you were screwed, buddy. And, and I don't blame this on Dixon. I blame this on, IndyCar officiating. It was just a bum call. I think everybody, 99% of the country has sided with Graham Rahal right now. So, Graham, I'm thinking about you, brother. That sucked. We'll see you at Indy here in a couple of weeks. But yeah, Dakar Rally news. I guess the 25th of this month, we're going to have even more news. But they did break the news that Dakar Rally, we had rumors of this we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what show it was on. But Dakar Rally is moving to Saudi Arabia in 2020, which means we are, 7-8 months away from Saudi Arabia edition of the Dakar Rally. They spent, 30 years in Africa, 11 years in South America, now moving to Saudi Arabia on a multi-year deal. Everybody is assassinating the ASO and the Dakar Rally right now, and rightfully so. Seriously, out of all countries, you're going to move it to Saudi Arabia. I mean, the human rights issues they have there are ridiculous. The way their treatment of women, they're second-class citizens. Now we're going to move the premier off-road event in the world to a country that literally hates women. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's a crap move by the ASO. It was a money grab, and and I know this because me, I watch pro wrestling. I talk about it here and there. I interview pro wrestlers on Project Action a bit, but WWE, and I'm going to make the wrestling reference. Yes, they took it was a 9-figure deal, I believe, to put on some pay-per-views over there in Saudi Arabia. It's so bad they don't allow the women to compete. So, women main event WrestleMania, but they're not allowed to compete in Saudi Arabia. I think Renee Young, they allowed her, the commentator, to actually commentate this last time in Saudi Arabia, but she had a head to toe full on garb, which at least they let her commentate. But they don't allow the women wrestlers to compete, which I think is just garbage. I mean, they pay enough money that The Undertaker comes out of retirement every year. I mean, millions of dollars they pay The Undertaker to come and put on the show in Saudi Arabia. It's a money deal. Like, we know this. Obviously Saudi Arabia has desert, but there's no logical reason to move this from South America to Saudi Arabia other than money. Plenty of places to run it in South America. I don't agree with this. And, if you were to move it to some other place that doesn't quite have, the human rights issues that they do in Saudi Arabia, I'd be okay with it. There's a lot of Middle Eastern countries where you could run this rally, and I think things would be fine. But I think just with everything going on there, like bad move. I don't understand it. I can't get behind it. I wish I could spin this and tell you guys like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I think people, and what happens to liaisons and these amazing female Dakar rally drivers, that now all of a sudden, what are they going to do when they compete? Are they going to have armed guards like following them and, via helicopter? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's just, man, bad move. I'm anxious to see April 25th what this actual announcement they've got, to even further things is going to be. But as of right now, man, I cannot get behind this. Not stoked on it whatsoever. I think it's a bad move by the ASO. So we are going to take a short commercial break. And, yeah, man, sorry to start this thing off on a downer, but we're going to liven things up a bit here in a minute because when we come back from break, we're going to have my boy Blade Hildebrand. He's going to be calling in, talking about his new Red Bull deal, Dakar Rally, yes, the South America version, Stadium Super Trucks, his desert racing career, and a whole lot more right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'd like to welcome my next guest. Somebody, I don't know, I've known your family for a long time, but Blade Hildebrand, welcome to the show. Finally getting you on here, man. Welcome, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so I don't know. We got a lot to talk about here, dude. Because you've been shredding things the past couple of years. But I guess before we get into talking SST and Dakar and desert racing, first off, congrats on the new Red Bull helmet deal, man. That's got to be pretty damn exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be joining the Red Bull team for this next season. You kind of look at them; they sponsor kind of the best in the business. So to be a part of that family, means a lot to me and lots of my family in the racing industry. So excited to get after it this year with Red Bull on the side of my helmet.
Yeah, how did that come about? Because I know Red Bull, I mean, they like getting young, talented kids such as yourself, and you never know with their scouting process how it quite works. I mean, was that something you guys hustled for? Did they just reach out to you guys like out of the blue and you were like, oh, wow?
It kind of started back when I was back in Dakar, just looking at all the Red Bull teams back there, and I was just amazed by how much time and effort they put into the racing industry and to get everything correct. And I was kind of baffled by all that, so kind of reached out to them a little bit, and they reached back out to me, and kind of just the rest is history, kind of right there. I mean, kind of just been talking back and forth, and finally made a contract happen and signed. I want to say last week, so super excited to make that happen.
Yeah, just in time for Long Beach Grand Prix, right?
Right, just in time.
Yeah. So talking about that, man, we're going to talk a little bit everything today, but SST, I know you finally kind of broke through, got your first SST victory, but how has that been? I mean, you're a desert kid. You're like me, man. You grew up in the dirt, How has that transition been to SST where there's still jumps, there's still off-road trucks, crazy body roll, but how has that been, like, the transition to, like, the pavement and the asphalt and stuff where, a majority of the SST races are? Like, you've had to probably, adjust your driving style and figure that whole thing out, right?
Yeah, it's a completely different type of driving. Desert, I'm more of like a conservative driver, I like to say. Definitely calmed down over these past few years. But desert, SST is kind of just go, 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 You got to be super aggressive. And it took me a while to get kind of used to the driving style that was going on over there. But finally kind of clicked with me a little bit and was able to get my first win at Coda Raceway, the opener for SST. But, yeah, those trucks are just completely different ball game. Don't really get a whole lot of seat time in the trucks. You get about 15 minutes for each race, so you got to kind of make it worth it. And finally, made it click and got my first win at Coda Raceway. So
Well, and I know with SST too, and even talking like Matt Brabham's a good friend of mine, and Matty was telling me, he's like, man, when I first got in these things, and he's coming from, IndyCar world and road racing world, just total opposite of you, but he's like, man, it was something different than I ever expected, and he's like, man, you've got to drive them so hard, and he was telling me, he's like, dude, he's like, I was puckering the first time I hit one of those steel ramps. He's like, I didn't know what to expect. He's like, because looks like a wall coming at you, and he's like, you're just hitting that thing, and like, you want to lift, but he's like, it's just like you run into it, it's just like, bam. I mean, there had to have been some nerves the first time you got behind the wheel, and it's like, man, how do I hit this stuff? Like, what's going to happen? Like, or is it one of those where you just go in and you just huck it?
Yeah, I mean, my first race was Lake Elsinore, and there were some heavy hitters up there like Sheldon Creed, Garrett Brooks, Robbie. So me and Cole kind of got baptized by fire right there at that race. It was a hard race to kind of get my feet wet, but I guess like Matty probably said, that you have to do it. So, but yeah, I was definitely nervous. My first road race was at Adelaide, the streets of Adelaide, Australia. And we're flying down the back streets there, hitting the jumps at like 80 miles an hour. So, I mean, it's definitely a rush for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing rad about SST, because you're a young driver and you've traveled to more countries and seen so much more than a lot of American off-road drivers ever will. I mean, how is it racing in Australia? Because, dude, those fans down there are like next level crazy, right?
Yeah, they're insane back there. I mean, back there's just a whole different atmosphere. They really they have a great appreciation for racing back there, because I don't feel like it's as big back there as it is here. It might be, but they definitely go crazy over the trucks. They absolutely love them. They all run to the fences. When it's our time out on the track, the fans kind of just swarm the racetrack. So it's a cool atmosphere back there for sure.
Yeah. Well, kind of take us through, because I know one of the big announcements, we'll go back to the SST here in a minute, but one of the big announcements this last, fall, winter was, that you went down to Dakar with Robbie and with Cole Potts and, 3-car effort and things like that. How did that get put together, man? Because, Dakar, like, you can go to Baja, you can go to the Mint, you can do all these desert races here in the Southwest, but when you go to Dakar, I mean, it's just another level. Like, and I don't think, I've never actually been there, but everybody I've talked to says it's like you have to go and experience it. It's like the first year you can't even think about a win. You just need to go and figure out how it all runs, try and get to the finish. They're like, it's like running 2 weeks worth of Baja 500s or something like that, back to back to back to back. I mean, how was that whole experience for you, and how'd that all get put together with Robbie? Because I know, like, even talking with him, he was in Parker. This was like a month and a half out from Dakar, and he was still trying to put everything together. So it was like, I think everything kind of came together, right before the Dakar Rally, right?
Yeah, it was literally like right before Robbie kind of came up to me and Cole, and I guess because they have a desert background, asked us some questions like, hey, would you guys be interested in doing the Dakar Rally? Would you guys want to do it? And I looked at Cole and I was like, yeah, I mean, that's like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I was like, I'm trying to figure out how to make it happen. So thankfully, King Shark came aboard and sponsored me to go out there and race, and grateful for that. And it was kind of just last minute. I ended up making that deal happen, and I was in for the rally, and then that was just that was an insane race. That was absolutely insane. It was something you have to experience for sure. It was hard. It was hard mentally and physically. I'd say more mentally. At the rest day, you kind of you're down on sleep. It's just hard. It's just hard to keep pushing. But thankfully, like, we have a bunch of great fans on like Instagram and everything that just give you that little extra effort to push to the next day and get to the finish. So that was definitely good.
Yeah, and that, like, I can't even imagine, because, like, most of the time you get done with a desert race and you're like, all right, something like Vegas to Reno, you're like, I'm done. Like, I get to sleep in tomorrow. Yeah. I'm taking a break like this. And especially like with the side-by-side division, if you're one of the front-running car and truck factory vehicles, you finishing hours ahead of, some of the side-by-sides and things like that. You have a rough day, you're finishing at night, and then you turn around the next morning, it's like crack of dawn, boom, you guys are working all night long. Like, I mean, that's just, like, mentally, like you said, that's just got to, like, wear on you. It's just got to be draining, man.
Yeah, it was super draining for me, especially being my first year. I didn't really, I watched plenty of videos, kind of try to do my homework, but I don't really think that you can prepare for the Dakar Rally. It was hard, coming in the rest day. that was the day I threw a water pellet and pump, and it put me down quite a while. And they have this thing called Fresh Fest back there. It's like soft sand, but it's like baby powder pretty much.
Okay.
Me and Cole both got stuck in it, so we're trying to get each other out. We're pulling each other out, and finally get out. And by that time, the sun's starting to go down. So I'm like, holy crap. So I ended up finishing that stage at like, I want to say 6 o'clock at night. And then I had like a 200-kilometer liaison after that. So I probably didn't roll into the bivouac like 5 o'clock that morning. We ended up having a problem with the secondary clutch. So I ended up fixing that, got to the bivouac at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Ended up changing the primary as well when I got there. And next thing I know, I'm sitting under the car, trying to get like a couple hours of sleep, and my co-driver's waking me up, say, hey, it's time to roll again. So it was like 6 o'clock in the morning when that happened, so I got about an hour of sleep. So yeah, I was definitely physically and mentally drained by that time. So it was good to have the rest day the next day, try to catch up on some sleep for the rest of the rally.
Yeah, is that one of those you get back to the United States, dude, and it was just like you sleep for like 24 hours straight?
Exactly. My mom, that's what I told my mom. I was like, hey, I'm going to go in my room, shut my door, and try to catch up on some sleep. So she said she went in there and checked up on me a couple times, make sure I was still alive.
Make sure there's still some breathing going on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so. Man. Well, talking about your family, I know I've known your dad, for quite a while, and you guys have your own race program. What's this year look like for the desert? I know you guys are, got I don't know, you guys got a lot going on. I can't even keep track of the race cars coming in and out of the shop there. But what's going on the family race program side of things? I mean, what's the desert plans for you guys this year?
The desert plans, we had a 6100 truck that my first race was Laughlin last year, and just trying to get that thing dialed in, get it squared away. With this, I missed this year and had some problems with the transmission. So kind of just taking it down right now. It's down to bare chassis right now, doing a full prep on it, trying to make sure everything's dialed in for the next race. We're gonna try to make the 500 this year. If that doesn't end up happening, we're kind of just trying to make sure the truck's ready before we go back out and race again. So, but we're next year we're planning on going full best in the desert 6100 truck and full-time pro light for lures. Oh, nice. Going to go to Lucas and do Pro Light. You still going to bounce back and forth doing some SST stuff as well? Yeah, I'm gonna try to make some of those races for sure. SST is it's a whole lot of fun. I really enjoy racing that series. So hopefully we can try to make something happen again to race some more races. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. How is something going to like Long Beach? You know what I mean? Like that's got to be, the crowd there is just like crazy. I mean, not many people get to race in front of crowds like that. That's got to be pretty rad. Yeah, that Long Beach is probably the funnest race of the entire year. They have a great venue there, and they really do a good job putting on that race. And that's probably the most fans we race in front of all year. And it's just absolutely insane. That whole entire atmosphere is just everyone's cheering, and it's cool to be able to race in front of that. Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's like just being to the times I've been to Long Beach, I'm just like, holy crap! You take in that atmosphere, and it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those events like I think it's one of a kind here in the United States for sure, man. It's exactly. I can only imagine racing in front of that crowd. And it's like last year, You guys were the show, and I didn't get to go this year, but last year SST was the show. Like everybody showed up, like they run SST like after the Indy cars and stuff, or at least last year I can't remember. Maybe it was the IMSA cars, but like it was the last event of the day only because like they knew people would stick around to actually watch the SST trucks. Yeah, all the guys really do like a good job on putting on a good race. The fans really love it. Robbie does a great job promoting it and everything like that. He has a really good gig there going on for that. So, I mean, the fans, he gives the fans what they want, and that's SST. So, I was glad to be a part of it for the past 2 years, for sure. Well, I appreciate the time, Blade, man. We're running up against a time break, buddy, but congrats on the new Red Bull deal. Looking forward to, seeing you guys out in the desert soon, and just keep shredding, buddy. And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com. Do you race or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500, or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at ImpactRaceProducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online in syndication on networks across the U.S. and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Joined by my partner in crime on the line, Tiffany Stone, who we come to find out this weekend does not watch Game of Thrones. T-Stone, what the hell is going on?
I know. Do you know how many people messaged me on Instagram? I put that on my IG story. I was like, I am 1% who has never seen Game of Thrones, and everybody either did like the clapping hands, the hands up, the like 100%, me too. It was just, I have never, like, I could post a bikini pic, sure, okay, cool. But I post a photo or a little meme that says I have never watched Game of Thrones, and like the internet breaks. It's quite hilarious to me.
No, I was reading some of the comments, and it was absolutely funny as hell. But you know what I find funny about it is like there's the people who now it's like the hipster thing to not watch Game of Thrones. And I'm not saying this is you, but it's like there's this subset of people that are like they refuse to do it because they think it's the trendy thing to do. It's like, we're going to be hipsters, and we're not going to watch Game of Thrones because screw those Game of Thrones watchers. We're going to stick it to the man. And I'm like, well, you can stick it to the man, but you're literally missing out on like one masterpiece of a television series. Like, I don't know, like there's 6 episodes this season, and all of them, aside from like the first episode or 2, are going to be 2 hours long. They said it took them 2 years to shoot 6 episodes because it's like, I don't know, like I don't know. To me, it's just an amazing TV show, and it's like the people want to be like hipsters and miss out on it. Like I think if you were to jump into it now, T-Stone, like it would be the time to do it because it'll be all over and you can binge watch like every season of it, you know?
Well, and that's what I was thinking of. But see, my problem is I don't have regular TV, so I just have like Netflix, Hulu, whatever everybody else uses. And once I'm in a series, I can't like sway to another series. So honestly, I just finished watching Blacklist, and I know season 6 of Blacklist is out right now, so I have to wait. But I binge watched pretty good in the last 4.5 months. The Blacklist, because I travel, so whenever I'm on a plane, I try to download some episodes, and my schedule's all over. But that's my problem. Like, I wanted to start Game of Thrones. I know how much time you have to put into it. So it's like during race season, I don't have the time, and it's like I know I would just get caught up. So sadly, yes, I am the 1%er. However, I do want to watch it. I just know it's like a full-time commitment, though, right?
Yeah, well, and like the biggest problem with that's not a yearly thing. Like, I've been watching it. I started in like I think season 5, and we're into season 8 now. And like I've been watching it for 5 years, and like literally only a couple of seasons have aired since I started watching it. But it took them that long to film. Like this series has been going on well over a decade, and it's only 8 seasons in because like sometimes it takes them 2 years to film. It's just crazy. So like, I don't know, like you're lucky. I envy you because now you get to watch the thing, pinned wire to wire. I wish I could have started that. Like it's been 2 years since I've seen an episode. So.
Well, and see, that's a good thing too. It's like when you do find a series that you like I said, like Blacklist or How to Get Away with Murder or Scandal, or like,
love all those.
All those like, yeah. Well, and it's kind of low key. Have you ever? I gotta post this first of all. Let me sway from here. I saw a meme that says, when you're in your 20s, you're so excited to go to happy hour, and when you're in your 30s, you try to avoid all conversations with people and watch murder mysteries. Like that's totally me. Like I am a murder mystery type of person, but like I want to watch Game of Thrones, but I know like. First of all, I was, flipping through Instagram and stuff, and there is this, I screenshot it, but there is a direction to watch, this is season 8, right? To watch season 8. It's saying, like, for the first season, you need to watch episode blah, 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 and then it goes from 1 through 7 to watch these episodes, and if you watch these episodes, then season 8 will make sense. And I do enjoy storylines like that where they're, they all come together and they're intertwining, like, like Snatch, or Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
Yeah.
Those movies. So I enjoy it, but I bet you and Jim come fall Crandon, I'll be like, Jim, I watched all of that, and I'm so excited.
Well, it's funny, too, and we're not going to make this whole segment on Game of Thrones because I know you're out of Richmond, but like the crazy thing is there's actually people in this TV show, they've done the show together, and after 10 years, they actually finally met each other because, like, it's filmed in all these different locations. So they'd go and shoot in, say in Europe for 6 months. And then they'd go to the Middle East for 6 months. And it was different cast members because it spread all over the world. So there's literally people that are in this TV show together that it took them a decade to actually finally meet each other in person because the thing's just filmed all. Like, it's that massive of a show. Like, I think that's kind of crazy that you can be on a TV show with somebody and never meet them, over the course of a decade.
Oh my! Honestly, that's just way more impressive. And like you said, I know we have to talk about racing and Richmond stuff, but low-key, Jim, everybody's loving this Game of Thrones reference right now. And then they're gonna message me and be like, "Really, T-Stone, you've never seen an episode?" No, I've never seen an episode.
No. We're gonna start a GoFundMe for T-Stone, and it's gonna buy you the Blu-ray box set or like the I guess the iTunes box set or whatever for your iPad. That'll be like a GoFundMe for T-Stone. Help T-Stone out because HBO shows aren't cheap to buy.
No. Well, my birthday is May 2nd, so my birthday is in less than 3 weeks, Jim. So maybe I'll make like an Amazon wish list or something.
Oh, too funny. So I know, I guess switching gears here, literally, you're out at Richmond, right? I didn't get a chance to watch that. I was kind of knee deep in IndyCar, Game of Thrones, and a bunch of other stuff. I know night race. How was everything out there at Richmond?
It was great. It rained, so like it was kind of weird. So yeah, the Friday and Saturday night race, which I kind of like. A few years ago, it used to be a Friday night race, a Saturday and Sunday day race. So I know, like with NASCAR and budgets and all that, they're moving things around, and some fans don't extremely happy about it. It was the Toyota Owners 400, so they brought a bunch of different things out there. We got to see the Supra again up close in person. Richmond race was great. It rained a little here and there, but they got the racing in. A really cool thing that I got to see is, the Camry is one of the official pace cars along with the Supra. But what's really cool is when they bring this Camry out, they brought a specific Camry out where they've modified it. So paraplegics, anybody who needs assistance and some veterans will be able to get into that car and drive or ride with it. So I thought that was really kind of cool, that Toyota and NASCAR, they're doing these things for, a bunch of the wounded warriors and the veterans to fight, so much so we can be able to have race day on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was really cool to see something like that. But racing, other than that, is great. Martin Truex is doing a wonderful job. And it's always good to see them out there. And I guess Toyota's just been killing it lately.
Well, and that being said, you're talking about night race there, and I know Lucas has actually found some success this year. They've had night races, single night, one night events, and I feel like people almost like that better than a Sunday day race or something. They can come in; it's almost like going to a movie, right? You come in, you go, you watch, you're entertained for the evening. It didn't ruin your whole Saturday. It doesn't ruin your whole Sunday. You can be entertained for 4 or 5 hours one evening, and then you go home, and it's you still have your weekend, right? I think I feel like motorsports is kind of moving to that model where it's Saturday night entertainment. I don't know. You feel the same way? I feel like these night events, whether it be Supercross or short course or NASCAR, even IndyCar does some. I feel like that might be the hot ticket moving forward.
I think so too, and it's kind of in that prime time, quote unquote, television spot. Races are starting at 7:30 or 8 p.m., and that's when people would be watching television, and it's kind of cool that the weather's changing, spring, summer, so more people are opted to go outside, which I like, as well. And so I think it's kind of cool, and exactly what you said is, if you've never, I don't know if you've ever seen that, Jim, have you ever been to an NHRA race at night?
No, haven't been to an NHRA night race. No, haven't yet.
Okay. Oh, my God. When you see the flames come out of the headers and everything like that, and then it's just sensory overload. But during the day, you never get to see, how much power is really being pushed out of the headers. So it's really cool because you see that, and so you'll see some people like Rita Pritchett, Antron Brown, Matt Hagan, and different, dragsters and different funny cars. It's just so cool. It is really, really, really cool. I agree with you. I think a lot of motorsports and off-road, why not, you get home Friday night, you grab the kids, you grab the family, you go, you have some lunch, or dinner out in the parking lot before you do that, and then you come in and you're having an evening. And like you said, your entire weekend's still available. Yeah,
I feel like, I don't know, everything has a shift, and I've seen that in the last couple of years. It seems like it's shifting more and more towards that, and it seems like, I don't know, people's attention spans are small, and I think for TV ratings, too, a NASCAR race on a Sunday, I want to do stuff on a Sunday, right? I don't want to sit in front of the TV for 4 hours, but on a Saturday night, even if I'm a home viewer, I'm either at home or, say, I'm out at the sports bar or something like that. It's running, it's airing on TV, so you're sitting there having a conversation watching the NASCAR race. I feel like probably viewership is even higher on Saturday nights. I don't know. I just feel like it's a win-win for everybody with motorsports moving to that night format on Saturday evenings.
No, I agree with you. I really agree with you. I think that's the way that it's going. And if not, Jim, we'll just tell everybody it is, and then later I will just say we came up with that.
Yeah, it was our idea. You heard it here first.
You heard it here. T Stone and Jim Beaver approved. Yeah,
exactly. So I know you've got some other interesting announcements coming the end of the month. We're waiting a week to talk about that. I know past that, what else you got going? What's your May look like, T Stone?
May looks pretty good. I want to get some more things with the Jeep. I'm working with some new sponsors on that, so I'm going to update some things. I should invite you. I really want to do this. I want to make a trip where I take the Jeep to the west side of the state and do Silver Lake Sand Dunes, go to the UP and do a bunch of stuff. So maybe I'll fly you out or see what we could do. I just think it would be so cool to be able to, hit those places up, especially with Easter Jeep Safari going on this week. Jim, I have never had FOMO so much this week. And it's everybody's like, well, just fly out there. Go out to Moab. Go out there. I'm like, you want me to go to Moab without my rig, without my Jeep, and just sit there and be like, I wish I was crossing right now. It's you can't. It's so weird. You know what I'm saying, Jim? It's hey, come to this race, but don't race.
Yeah, I actually went to Camp Razor one year without my razor. It was in and out for the day. I had to do some appearances, and it was tied up with SEMA, and I had something else. So I literally went in and out to Camp Razor for a day, and I was like, this was worst idea ever. Like, I'm like, here I am at Glamis at this amazing event, and I'm just sitting there hanging out, riding with buddies, and I'm like, I need my razor. Like, it just, no, I get you. Like, it's not something... Once you've got bit by that bug, you don't just go out and just like sit and watch. You know, it's kind of like me in the Baja 1000. I haven't raced it, you know what I mean? In a while, and it's like, I don't want to go to Baja, and everybody's like, oh, just come and hang out in the chase truck. I'm like, no, sorry, I want to race. Like, I can't go to Baja and just not race, you know?
I know. Maybe that's what we should start doing, Jim. Like, every time we're not racing, but we want to go, maybe you and I should just go. We should maybe either rent a golf cart, make our own race, do our own TV show. We should just be commentators. Like, we'd be like, hey, welcome to the T-Stone. Oh, this is what your new name is. We should start calling you the JB. Like, for JB, like Justin Bieber. But I've had way too much coffee this morning.
Way too much coffee. Yeah, no, it would be fun. Honestly, I there's actually something to that. We could start a YouTube channel just driving around a golf cart at motorsports events. You imagine having one at Crandon and just cruising around, and then having one at, or we could make it a Razor, but having one at like King of the Hammers, and just driving around and just like people watch and make fun of people and join in the shenanigans. Like, that would make an epic YouTube channel.
Oh, my Jim, we are on to something. And then remember, I've been telling you I wanted to have that podcast, Cool Conversations with Interesting People. That is our sub-podcast from the Down and Dirty Show.
Absolutely, right there. Money in the bank, T-Stone.
Before we go, could you imagine doing that on like a Friday night or Saturday night at Jurassic Park at Fort Brandon with the slip and slide?
Oh, I've been back to Jurassic Park on a Friday or Saturday night. It is out of control. It would be so much fun just to film the shenanigans. The problem is like you would have to like blur out a lot of things.
It's okay. I got some Keystone approved stickers we can put on the things that need to be blurred out.
That would be even better. All right, T-Stone. Well, we're up against the break. Always fun catching up. Hopefully you get on this Game of Thrones bandwagon at some point, but we will definitely chat with you next week. And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for. No fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island. The best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Just getting done with Blade Hildebrand, Tiffany Stone. Great hour number one as we wrap up this first hour here. Roll into hour number two. We got some Lucas Oil results brought to you by General Tire. We got power rankings and a big interview with Amber Balcaen coming up. And in Project Action this week, we're actually going to drop that full-length interview with Amber Balcaen uncut. We had to trim it up a little bit to make it into the national slots. So we're going to air that thing uncut in Project Action this week. And speaking of my other shows, we've got the Four Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition, also powered by Polaris Razor. That's going to be dropping tomorrow, Wednesday, April 17th. If you're tuning in on demand, probably already out there or in national syndication. But I am going to have a very full-length sit-down interview with my good friend Ryan Arciero that I am very, very excited about. He's got an amazing story. I mean, his family's been in IndyCar. He's driven Dakar Rally, trophy trucks, every class in desert racing. The stories Ryan Arciero has, and he darn near just won the San Felipe 250. I am so excited to sit down with Ryan Arciero. This is going to be a can't-miss interview. If you're a motorsports or an off-road fan, hands down, that's coming tomorrow on the 4 Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. So I can guarantee you that one will not disappoint. So yes, that one coming up. Looking forward to that. Make sure and check out our website, downanddirtyshow.com. Chris Leone, who he won't be on Power Rankings this week. We got a short, compact Power Rankings. But he's keeps things locked and loaded on the website with all kinds of content. We got some big announcements coming later this week. So a lot of good stuff happening at the website. Follow me at JimBeaver15 on social media. And please, we've got 3 shows now, 2 different RSS feeds on iTunes. Make sure and subscribe over there to the Down and Dirty Show, as well as Project Action on iTunes. And with that, we are going to take a short commercial break. We come back. It is Lucas Oil Results brought to you by General Tire here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by, you guessed it, Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. It's more than just a slogan. Anywhere is possible with General Tire. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3 from General Tire. Make your anywhere possible by visiting GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressive styling with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, kicking off hour number 2, and hour number 2 means it is time for Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series results, brought to you by our good friends at General Tire, reminding you that anywhere is possible. Make sure and post up those rad pictures of your General Tires. And speaking of General Tires, my good friend Natalie Eva Marie, I don't know if you follow her on Instagram. You should be. Former pro wrestler, actress now. She's just on Celebrity Big Brother. But we got her Raptor rolling on some General Tires. And I got to tell you, this thing, it looks badass. Natalie posted up some pictures on her Instagram feed. So welcome to the General Tire family, Natalie Eva Marie. And so, these being brought to you by our good friends at General Tire and our partners. And, Glen Helen in the books. Now they moved on to Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park this past weekend. Pro right, it was Mickey Thomas, followed by Ryan Beat and Ronnie Anderson. Beat on those General Tires on the podium, having a great season. Moving on to Pro 2, Brian Deegan, the General, back on top in Pro 2. Rodrigo Amputi, a solid effort there to finish up in second, and R.J. Anderson wrapping up that third spot. Pro Buggy, it was Trevor Briska, Matthew Brister, and Elliott Watson, 1, 2, and 3. Production 1000 UTV, it was Stout, Cheek, Heeger, and then moving on to Pro 4, it was the man Kyle LeDuc. He is keeping it perfect so far this season. Great run by him. Doug Mittag and R.J. Anderson also finding their way to the podium in Pro 4. And then looking at some of our other results, we had Turbo UTV in action as well. I'm trying to find some results here for Turbo UTV. Looks like it was those are qualifying results. Don't have results for Turbo UTV. My apologies, but yeah, we do have some karting results here. Mod Karts, it was Mason Prater, John Holcher, and Braden Shiramonte. And then looking at JR2 kart, it was Karsten Hernandez, Cade Martin, and Brody Graham. So those are your results from Lucas Oil, round number 2 out there at Wild Horse Pass. Next up, Lucas Oil moves south of the border to Ensenada and Estero Beach. So that's coming up. But yeah, those are your results brought to you by General Tire for Lucas Oil Off-Road Racing Series. And we are going to take a short commercial break. And when we return here, it is my favorite segment of the day, Power Rankings. That coming up next, right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance, responsiveness, and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered, packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm R.J. Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right, welcome back here to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. We are in hour number 2, and like I said before, I know if you guys got any power rankings, ideas, whatever, tweet me at JimBeaver15. Would love to hear from you guys, but just check it out. I keep Twitter up while we're doing live. That's where I chat with fans and things like that. Robert Wickens, man, good friend of mine, obviously IndyCar driver. You know the story there, but this guy is beast mode, just full on. I know he's walking, he's doing pull-ups now. Like, this guy, it's crazy to think he's removed, almost not even a year removed from that crazy accident he had. But man, this beast mode. It's only a matter of time before we see Wickens back in an IndyCar for sure. So, and before we get into these power rankings, definitely check out my friends, mymedic.com. If you're looking for first aid kits, check them out. Coupon code JimBeaver. And we're going to roll right into our power rankings. And this is a big weekend. And I know I'm probably going to leave somebody out. You guys are going to assassinate me over them. I know normally we have Chris on to help me with these, and just ran short on time today. We got that big interview with Amber Balcaen coming up, so not able to get to that. But, so looking at power rankings for this week, I guess we're coming in at number 5. And this one I actually had a tough call with. It's actually a couple. I left IMSA because they're always, like, to me, the undercard at Long Beach, and it's not like a true endurance race. So I left IMSA and prototypes. I left any results regarding that off the list. Not to take away, but Long Beach is a marquee event. It's just not a marquee event for IMSA. So it didn't put any of those winners into consideration. And then, I looked at things. NASCAR, Richmond, I don't know. Nothing taken away. There's just other stuff going on that I thought was more important this weekend. So looking at number 5, I really had honorable mention went to Kyle Duke. He would actually be my number 6 on the list. I had to determine who to put, Brian Deegan or Kyle Duke. And so Kyle Duke, he's back-to-back. He didn't dominate the first round. And I know this is just kind of a one-week window. Had a great run there at Phoenix. But the Pro 4 field is just so diluted. I didn't feel safe putting Kyle Duke on and leaving Brian Deegan off. So Brian Deegan I had at number 5. And here's the reason. Brian, I think a lot of times we forget, we know him from social media, the funny guy. Now Haley Deegan, man, she's kind of like casting a shadow over her dad, which I think is rad. He's got his kids that are shredding dirt bikes. But I think a lot of times, the social media, the whole persona, like, I think we forget how badass of a race car driver Brian Deegan actually is. I still say he's got the greatest pass in GRC history, with that outside move in Vegas where he passed like the entire field of cars around the outside. He moved into second place from like 10th there right in front of SEMA a couple years ago, quite a few years ago. So Deegan had him at number 5 because the Pro 2 field is stacked, and it's even tougher because they've got the new Pro 2M motor, and those guys, Daley Pinnico, Corey Winter, they get a head start on the rest of the field. So Deegan, it's always like, you're hunting down the 2 leaders, then you've got to get around them, and then you can concentrate on the win. So for those reasons, in just a hard-fought victory, and the way that Pro 2 is this year in Lucas, in the stack field, I had Brian Deegan. He's rolling in the general at number 5. Moving on to number 4. This is a guy who's been on my list before. I'm high on him. I think he's a crazy good talent. I would love to see him back in the Indy 500 this year. I don't know if it'll happen, but I had, because of yet another victory at Long Beach, Matty Brabham coming in at number 4. And Matty, interesting note, I know a lot of people are going to talk about, Rossi, he's back-to-back at Long Beach. Well, Matty is back-to-back-to-back. He's got the three-peat, the trifecta going on at Long Beach. Matt Brabham, this kid is world-class talent. You've seen him in V8 Supercars, seen him at the Indy 500. You've seen him, in Stadium Super Trucks. Reigning champ in SST. He's already having one hell of a year again this year, and that's not an easy thing to do in SST with the way qualifying works and inversions and field flipping and just the shenanigans that goes on. And he's had to learn the whole dirt side of things and jumping. He's a world-class talent, one of the best drivers in the world. I would love to see somebody come in with a little funding, run him at the Indy 500 this year, run him just on a road course in IndyCar. I think Matty Brabham would be phenomenal. So Matty Brabham coming in at number 4 because he took a Long Beach victory back to back to back. 3-peat at Long Beach. He is the man to beat when you are talking Long Beach Grand Prix and Stadium Super Trucks. Moving on to number 3. This was a tough one. How do you pick between Brittany Force and Robert Hight? Both teammates at John Force Racing. Both took victories in Funny Car and Top Fuel. Brittany Force, number 1 qualifier. Her dad, John Force, was actually number 1 qualifier in Funny Car. You don't pick between them. You know what you do? You put John Force Racing at number 3. That is right. Brittany Force victorious. Also had the top qualifier. Robert Hight, he had, he was the winner. John Force, top qualifier in Funny Car. John Force Racing just had an amazing weekend. So, you know what? You don't pick between drivers. You just put them all there. You put the team collectively in a dominating effort at number 3 on your list. John Force Racing just dominated the NHRA weekend. Hands down, no arguments. And because of that, you put the whole entire darn team right there at number 3 on your power rankings. So I know that was the easy way out, right? Instead of picking between. I took the easy way out on that one, I'll admit, but who's going to argue that one, right? I mean, how do you pick between Force and Brittany Force and Robert Hight? I'd like to actually hear you guys chime in on that on social media when you're listening to this. Let me know. Moving on to number 2. This is, with everything going on with Long Beach and everything else, this is kind of one of those forgotten about events, I think. Supercross, yes, it's still going on. We've got a great championship coming down to the wire here. But my number 2, I had Eli Tomac. Tomac, great run to take the victory. He's made a run as of late. You look, he's stringed together some podiums, back-to-back victories. He's hitting his stride and he's hitting his peak at the right time, and I think he is going to be strong to the finish here in the Supercross Championship. We only got a few rounds left, and Eli Tomac, man, it's going to be wild to see how this one shakes up, but he is hitting his peak at the right time. I think he's going to make a run there for the 450 title, and back-to-back victories, winning this weekend. Eli Tomac, number 2 on my list, which leads me to number 1. This one should not be a surprise to anybody. We got Andretti Autosport driver Alexander Rossi, my man Alexander Rossi. He's part of the Down and Dirty Show family, been on this show a million times. Back-to-back Long Beach victories, taking the victory this weekend. But not only back-to-back victories, but he dominated this weekend. I mean, Alexander Rossi qualified in P1. He literally just destroyed everybody at Long Beach. I would say led the race wire to wire, but he did pull into the pits, you know what I mean, and get past, and then he immediately re-inherits the lead, So I can't say he led this thing wire to wire because technically, there was other people in first place for a hair or a split second or whatever. But Alexander Rossi, man, this guy, it's crazy. There's such an awesome story of the Rossi, how in like 3 or 4 years he's gone from virtually a no-name in the United States to being, like the top motorsports driver in America, literally Indy 500 winner, second in the championship last year in IndyCar. He's run the Baja 1000. He's raced Formula One in the past. I mean, he went to 24 Hours of Daytona. This guy, just amazing, super crazy talent, super nice guy. I can't wait to catch up with him out at the Indy GP. But for his dominating effort, qualifying on the pole and winning, almost leading every single lap at Long Beach, I got to have Alexander Rossi right there at number 1 on my list. That is my power rankings for this week. I would love for you guys to disagree with me. This is something that causes conversation. Please hit me up at JimBeaver15 on social media. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what your thoughts are. I'm looking forward to Chris Leone's power rankings when he drops those on the website. Check them out, downanddirtyshow.com. We are going to take a short commercial break. We come back, we're kicking things back off with Amber Balcaen right here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Hey, this is Jim Beaver, host of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Getting down and dirty on the racetrack is all fun and games until it's time to get the dirt off. I know it all too well, which is why I partnered with MotoShield Pro, the leaders in nanotechnology solutions on the racetrack and in off-road to combat mud and dirt buildup on my vehicles. MotoShield Pro keeps us from taking unnecessary damage and spending extra energy on cleaning. No matter the weather or the surface, having proper protection on all my vehicles saves me plenty of reprep time in a sport where every second counts. Prep your vehicle like a pro. Learn more at MotoShieldPro.com.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'd like to welcome my good friend Amber Balcaen to the show. It's been a while, Amber. I'm trying to think. I think last time we actually saw each other in person may have been PRI, like a year and a half ago or something. But yeah, you've been pretty damn busy, Amber.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's been almost 2 years now since I've seen you at PRI, but I'm happy to be back racing again. Unfortunately, there was a little time where I wasn't in the car just due to sponsorship, the nature of the sport, but been working really hard at it these last few years and really happy to be back in the race seat again soon.
Yeah, well, and I know, you know, you're kind of like me, where we don't race without sponsors. You know, I wish I had the rich uncle, or I was independently wealthy, or I sold off all my businesses and just could afford to go racing because life would be easy. But it's one thing I love about you is you're a grinder. You know, you hustle, you're sending emails, you're shaking hands, you're always introducing yourself. I mean, I say for people like us, it's a bit of a struggle, but I got to tell you, when you land something like you did with Kyle Busch, it's got to be that much more gratifying for you.
Yeah, you really couldn't have said it any better. I mean, when you don't come from money or have that financial support behind you, it makes things a lot more difficult. I mean, most people at least have their parents funding them until they get to a certain point, and then they find sponsorship. But I've had to fund my own way since I was 10 years old. So the struggle isn't new for me. I'm starting to get used to it. And one of my friends, Steve Arpin, who I know that you know as well.
Oh, Steve's my boy. I love Steve.
I remember about a year ago, I messaged him and I said, Steve, does this struggle ever end? And he goes, no, it doesn't, Amber. So you just got to get used to it. So I said, all right, well, then we got to embrace it. So that's kind of the only thing that's really, really changed in the last couple of years is I embrace the struggle now. And like you said, it makes it feel so much better when I do get a sponsor and I do get to race, because I know how much hard work I've had to put into it, and it's just the most rewarding feeling in the world. And now I don't take anything for granted. You know, when you're racing all the time, you get mad if you don't win, and that's the only thing you're mad about. And now I'm excited just to be in a race car. And obviously with a team like Busch Motorsports, they expect you to win, and that's still my goal. And I think we have the ability to definitely put up a good finish. Even for my first race, I'm really pumped about it. So, yeah, just positive energy right now, and really happy that all my hard work is starting to pay off, and really looking forward to getting back in the race car.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing with a team like Busch Motorsports. I mean, you know, Kyle has, you know, I lost count of his wins, but I know it's over 200 NASCAR victories at this point, and then, you know, in the big national series. But, you know, he doesn't just put anybody behind the wheel. It's, you know, it doesn't matter how many social media followers you have, how much money you've got. Like, Kyle's just not going to throw anybody behind the wheel because it's a reflection of him. His name's on the race car, things like that. So, I mean, you know, that's big for you to be, you know, to even just have a 2-race deal with Kyle Busch, because, like I said, I mean, him signing on the dotted line, I'm like, all right, Amber, I'm going to let you drive one of my race cars for 2 races. Like, you know, that's a big personal endorsement.
Absolutely, and that is why I'm just so internally grateful for this opportunity. It's one that I've built a relationship with his wife, Samantha Busch, for quite a few years, and through our relationship, met Kyle and really just built our relationship and built that trust from them, and, you know, showed them that I can win. And through that and through finding sponsors, that's kind of how everything came together. And I know Kyle's very picky with who he puts in his cars, because himself is a winning championship driver, and he expects his drivers to be as well. So even him letting me get to wheel his race cars is something that I'm really excited about, and I'm really honored that he would choose to put me in his seat. And there's definitely a lot of pressure with wanting to win and needing to do well, but it's a good kind of pressure that I've been waiting for and I'm excited for. So I just hope I put up a really good result and do them proud. And yeah, I mean, just racing for Kyle Busch is definitely something to be excited about.
Yeah, well, and I want to go back a couple years because, we've known each other for a while now. And, I know one of the big things that happened a couple years ago, to me, you've got people, when you make a commitment to racing, it's kind of like when you've got somebody that says they're an actress or an actor, you know what I mean? It's like, but when they say, hey, I'm an actress and I'm moving to LA and I'm going to try and make a go of this thing, it's like, oh, you're serious. I feel like a couple years ago, you made that move to Charlotte. And when a race car driver makes a move to either Charlotte or Indianapolis, hey, they're serious. You upped and moved, to a different country, to Charlotte, you know what I mean, to make a go of this thing. And, to me, that had to have been a big move. But I know a couple of years ago paid off because you were, the first Canadian female to ever win a NASCAR sanctioned race. So, I mean, I know immediately things kind of started paying dividends. And then it's like, and then things kind of hiccuped, right? You lost a sponsor because I think you had a full ride last year for some K&N series, correct? I mean, it's been, you've kind of had a roller coaster since you've been there in Charlotte.
Definitely. Racing itself is a emotional roller coaster. And I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, I made the decision to drop out of university and pursue my racing career. I did have a 2-year business diploma, and I was going back to university for my 4th year, and was sitting in a lecture one day and had what Oprah calls the aha moment. And it was basically like, this is all I want to do is race cars. I can't imagine myself doing anything else. So I went home that day and told my parents I wanted to try to make my passion for racing and turn it into a career. And I found sponsorship, did a full year in a late model with Lee Pulley in Performance, got Rookie of the Year, won the race, became the first Canadian female to win a NASCAR sanctioned race in USA. And I thought things were just going to pop off. I was like, oh, this is great. Everything's going well. I'm going to get sponsors, race the NASCAR K&N series next year. And I thought everything was going great. And I had a few sponsors say that they wanted to do the full year. And then when it came down to writing the check, they backed out. So, I mean, that's just part of the business. That's the way it goes. It wasn't the first time it happened, and it probably won't be the last. But it's really just about being persistent and keep on going after it. I mean, I just didn't give up. There's a lot of times I could have given up in the last couple of years, but I really believe in my potential as a driver. I really believe in who I am as a personality for the sport. I feel like the sport really needs an underdog for fans to root for right now. I mean, with all these kids with their parents' money, not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, everyone, however you can make it work, you can make it work. But I think NASCAR needs a kind of humble and dirt road kind of story to inspire fans and get them excited about the future of NASCAR.
Yeah, well, and that being said, I mean, you're a one-woman show, right? I mean, a lot of people, when they're trying to approach NASCAR, or they've got agents, they've got, media managers, they've got all kinds of people helping them. And I mean, you do it all, right? I mean, you do your proposals, you handle your social media. I mean, everything is like, when they see Amber Balcaen anywhere, I mean, that's Amber Balcaen. It's not somebody behind the screens, behind the scenes with, moving a puppet. It's all you, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll get emails through my website and I respond right away and they go, wait, this is actually Amber responding? And I'm like, yeah, I don't have anyone that works for me. I mean, I do all my merchandise, my website, my proposals, sponsorship meetings. I mean, literally every aspect of the sport I do. And most people, like you said, either have PR people or managers or agents and that are dealing with the teams, that are designing T-shirts, that are designing the cars, all this. So it's a full-time job. The hardest part is finding the money. The rest is fun. The rest comes easier. But I'm just looking forward to these at least 2 races. I really hope I can add more races to the schedule. But I think that will start with just a good finish, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah, and you feel like, I mean, you feel like this is, you never want to say it's, I mean, this is a golden opportunity though, right? I mean, people, know Kyle Busch. I mean, this is a really, really big deal. Do you feel like, you do well here and this is your chance to really be like, hey, I can make a go of this thing and kind of prove yourself to everybody watching?
Absolutely. I know that there will be a lot of eyes on me just because that I'm racing for KBM. And Kyle is not only a great team owner, but he's arguably the best NASCAR driver there is. I mean, he's just so talented. This year, I'm calling it now, he's going to win the NASCAR Cup Series championship. But obviously I want to impress him and do the team proud. But at the same time, with my experience level, I don't have a lot of experience. So part of me wants to be realistic with the goals, but the other part of me thinks that I can go out there and win. So at the end of the day, all I can do is do my best and try to make myself proud and my team proud and my sponsors proud.
Yeah. Well, and how do you being, we've talked, I've talked with a lot of female drivers, and how do you feel? Do you feel like, things have opened up? I know, say a decade ago it was a whole lot tougher for a female driver to break through, but do you feel like now especially being in Charlotte, trying to make a go of this NASCAR thing, do you feel like you're viewed as, on an equal playing field with male drivers, or do you feel like there's still a little bit of a glass ceiling there?
I still think there's a little bit of a glass ceiling, just for the fact that a lot of people still have that stigma that female drivers just aren't as good as male drivers. And obviously my goal is to break that stigma. I believe in my ability and in my talents. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be still doing this. I wouldn't be going after this dream. I would have given up already. But I really believe in my ability. And, I raced one race with KBM last year, but a couple laps into it, my valve stem broke and I crashed out. So I really didn't even race last year. But I proved to the team just in practice enough for them to give me another chance. So that there, in my opinion, said a lot to how they view me as a driver, and they have that faith in me and they have that confidence in me to put me in the car again, even though we didn't even get to really race. And, I did test last week with KBM, and the crew chief said, for the fact that you haven't raced in over a year and you haven't been in the car, and he goes, it's phenomenal what you're doing and how quick you pick up on things and how well you listen to the adjustments that we're telling you to make when you're in the car. So, again, it's hard being so behind the eight ball when it comes to not having the seat time because of sponsorship. But I just got to do my absolute best that I can and make sure that I execute on every aspect during the race and during qualifying. And I really do think we'll be good, and I'm with the best team there is. So I'm just so excited.
And we'll be back with more with Amber Balcaen after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself, or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered, packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver here, along with Amber Balcaen, who's going racing with Busch Motorsports this weekend. So, Amber, kind of continuing on our conversation from earlier, I see the sponsorship game has changed, and I got to think that in the last 3 to 5 years, your proposals have got pretty interesting. It's not just as easy as going out on track and be like, hey, I can win races, because we know you can. You've got the track record, but you know what I mean? Now there's like social media, there's activations, there's appearances, there's, video content, there's so much that goes into it. You know what I mean? And I gotta feel like your proposals, you've had to get really creative in what you pitch to sponsors, right?
Absolutely. And to kind of go back to your question before about being a female in the sport, it's really not about the gender or about the amount of races you can win anymore. It's honestly just about how much money you can bring in. And it's kind of unfortunate that that's the way it goes, but I chose to play in the sport, and you got to deal with how it is, right? So for me, I just do everything I can on and off the track to attract sponsors. Even my social media, people have said that I've done a good job, but I'm constantly thinking of ways to differentiate myself from not only the other male drivers, but the other female drivers. I want sponsors to look at me and say, oh, I need to be behind that girl. I need to be partnered with that girl. And this is a nice transition into the importance of me building my personal brand is ultimately what got me on the new TV show that I'll be on this summer with CMT called Racing Wives. Since I was in go-karts at 10 years old, I knew that things were going to be more difficult for me because I didn't have the financial backing. So I was always trying to find ways how I could differentiate myself to attract sponsors that would want to partner with me and really be able to share my story with people to not only try to inspire people, but just show that hard work does pay off. And if you're willing to put in the work and you're persistent, you believe in yourself, you believe in your potential, that you can do really big things. And the reason I got to be a part of this TV show was because Samantha heard my story. And she knew that not only could I win races, but I came from nothing. And I worked really hard to get where I am today. And the CMT loved that as well. So I'm really hoping that the TV show and my brand together will help attract more sponsors to help me in the future.
Yeah, how does that TV show work? Because I know, that's you told me this is a while back. You and I, ping each other on social media here and there, about Racing Wives and stuff like that. And I think it's awesome you're on there, and I think, just reading, seeing some of the teasers, I know they've got, some storylines with the Monster Energy girls, and obviously, the just the traditional racing wives and stuff like that. That's got to feel pretty special for you to be like, hey, you're like the chosen race car driver to appear on the show with, with all these successful women and other things,
Absolutely. To be, in one of the episodes, I got to fly on Kyle and Samantha's private jet with Ashley Busch and Samantha Busch, and I just kind of sat there and was like, is this real life right now? Is this happening? I'm essentially the only kind of no name on the show. The wives are known because their husbands are big time NASCAR Cup Series drivers. So just to be a part of the show is really cool. And we're actually doing a little bit of reshooting within the next couple of weeks and changing the show up just a little bit to make sure it's absolutely perfect to air. And I'm really excited about the changes being made. We're going to get to see a little bit more about my racing, and I'm excited to share that with people. Yeah.
How is that going through, the film process? Because people like you and I, we do interviews for TV and stuff like that. It's, it's a sit down, it's like you're doing now, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes half an hour and things like that. But, it's one of those you walk away and it's kind of a shoot from the, cuff. But how is that going through the process of filming and, kind of a reality show and, and documenting basically your life and things in it, how was that? That had to have been a change up for you.
It was honestly really crazy. On the one end, it was a lot of fun. I got to experience things that I would have never been able to experience otherwise. But on the other side, it's way more mentally exhausting than you would expect because they have you speaking about things that are real life, but, maybe you wouldn't talk about it on a normal basis, but you talk about it on the show. And so, your emotions get out and it's pretty intense, to be honest.
Well, I figured it's got to be one of those things too. Sometimes you're like, oh, did I just say that? They were filming? Like, crap, I probably shouldn't have said that. Or can I reverse that? And you can't, right? Because it's like, no, this has got to be kind of like, first take. And they probably get those lines. They're like, yes, this is going to make for great TV. You're sitting there going, oh, no, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a learning curve. I mean, I think if it goes to second season, I'll be a little bit more aware of certain things. But overall, I think the show's going to be really great. I'm really excited for it to air. I'm really excited to be having this business relationship with Samantha Busch. If it wasn't for Samantha, I wouldn't be on the TV show. I wouldn't be racing for Kyle. So she's a big help in all of this. And I really do think people are going to like the show. I really do. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
How has it been for you since the move to Charlotte? Because, I mean, I know when you made that move to Charlotte, like, you knew a few people, I know a few people in Charlotte, and but like you're moving, to a new place, and like, do you feel like it was like starting all over? You had to re-network, you had to learn like the ins and outs, and where people eat and where people do this, and like, like that had to have been a change. Like, I'm sure like Amber now is so different than Amber, say, 3-4 years ago when you first moved to Charlotte. Like, it had to have been a big change just because you were learning like all the ropes, right, and how everything worked in the intertwinings of Charlotte.
Absolutely. I think anyone in their 20s changes quite a bit. And I'm 27 now, and I'm a completely different person than I was even a year ago. Definitely builds a lot of character, going through the ups and downs of the sport. But the biggest transition, honestly, was the fact that I was moving from the dirt track racing industry to the NASCAR industry. And I really didn't know anything about NASCAR other than watching it on Sundays. But I didn't know what late models were, like just the asphalt late model, and what was the best team to go to, and I didn't know all the little details, so I had to figure out which teams to go to and what was the best course. Do I do the NASCAR Can-Am Series? Do I do the ARCA Series? There's so many different paths in NASCAR, and if you don't know anything about it, you really got to learn. So my first year was just a ton of research, networking as much as I could, meeting as many people as I could in the NASCAR industry, and just getting my name out there, shaking hands, and learning as much as I could. And, I definitely made mistakes along the way, and I've learned a lot along the way, both professionally and personally. And I'm so grateful for it, because even though I have had a lot of struggle within the past few years, I've learned so much and grown so much as a person that I'm so grateful for all of it. And to finally be getting back in the race car right now, it just makes it so much better. And, my perspective on everything has changed. And now I know to learn to be grateful for absolutely every opportunity that I get.
Yeah. Well, obviously racing late models, this weekend, with Kyle Busch Motorsports, things go well. I mean, what do you see for the rest of this year and then going into next year? I mean, obviously, the ultimate goal is a cup ride. But, here in the next year or so, I mean, what would be a good stepping stone for this for you? I mean, would it be an ARCA ride or a truck ride? I mean, full-time late model. I mean, what are you hoping to get out of these two races?
I'm really hoping that after the first two races, we can add more races to the schedule. The Kyle Busch Motorsports has kind of stepped back with their late model program. They don't have as many people working on the stuff, so they kind of just made these two races for me and got the right guys to do it for me, because they wanted to take a step back to focus on the trucks. But if a big sponsor comes along, then I think that would change. And if we could add 5 or 6 more races to the schedule with that big sponsor, then that's something that I would really be excited about, as well as adding some ARCA races to this year as well, just to get my intermediate and super speedway experience. With the super late models, it's all short tracks, so I'd definitely like to get on some bigger tracks and feel the draft, feel the speed, and get used to that, so that next year, we can either go truck racing or ARCA racing.
Yeah. Well, and how is that for you? Like, switching between, late models to, talking about an ARCA car or a truck car and, super speedway versus short track and things like that. Do you feel like every time you get behind the wheel, you've got to like relearn how to drive the vehicle, or do a lot of them, have, similarities? Obviously there's horsepower discrepancies and, and a lot of little things like that. But do you feel like, they all transition pretty well between each other, or do you feel like it's like completely something new every single time you're behind the wheel?
When I first switched from dirt to pavement, it was a huge adjustment. I mean, guys like Kyle Larson just made it look so easy that when you came to actually doing it, you realized it wasn't that easy. So that first year was a learning curve, but I adjusted to it quick. But so my first year I raced a limited late model. Now I'm in a super late model. They're two totally different types of late models, even though they're both late models. We're still turning left. We're still on pavement. But I actually love the super late model. It has the highest horsepower and is the lightest car on the short track circuit. So it's almost more like the 410 sprint car that I used to race. So I think that's why I like it so much. But it's always a learning curve when I'm racing or even testing, because usually every time I get in the car, I'm either in a new car or at a new track. So there's always something to learn. But that's also part of the fun of it. I like the challenge, and I enjoy learning from these guys.
Yeah, I'm lobbying for you to race at Eldora in a truck. I just want to see you in a truck on the track.
Me too.
That's like I'm listening to this. I'm like, man, that's like the dream right there. I want to see Amber in a truck at Eldora.
Hey, let's make it happen.
Yeah, I just as a fan of NASCAR, because I'm an off-road guy, but for some odd reason, that's always the one race a year. Obviously road courses are fun too at the Cup level, but Eldora, there's just something special about that. And I feel like if they put you behind the wheel there, you'd be right at home.
I think so too. That's definitely on my bucket list, to run a truck at Eldora, and hopefully we can make that happen next year. I mean, if we have a good few races with KBM and add a few more super late model races, and maybe we can get in one of the KBM trucks next year. But again, it all comes down to sponsorship. So that's something I'm always working towards, really hoping that this TV show will help with exposure and help attracting sponsors. So that's why I'm really looking forward for it to air. But right now I just got to stay focused on these two races and do the best I can to execute and show people what I can do.
Yeah. When's the TV show drop? I know you said you've got a little bit of filming to wrap up. I know like 99% of it is already, finished and ready to go to air. Is it going to be over the summer sometime when Racing Wives drops?
Yeah, they haven't actually given us a specific date yet, but it should be sometime in the summer.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Amber. I know you're busy. I know bouncing around in meetings. You got, big race with Kyle Busch Motorsports, but appreciate the time as always. Good luck. I would love nothing more than to see you on top of the box.
Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate you having me on.
Talk about a super talented driver who is just trying to grind it out, make a career out of this thing. But, got to give her a lot of credit, man. Just keeping pushing on, and stoked to see her in action this weekend for Kyle Busch Motorsports, 2-race deal. And you got to think, man, if she can get some podiums out of this, better and bigger things to come with KBM. But we are going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to wrap things up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Oh, man, that was a hell of a ride. Go check out mymedic.com for the best first aid kits on the planet and save 15% with discount code JimBeaver. Again, mymedic.com, discount code JimBeaver, and save 15%. It's cheaper than a feeling.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Just got done with that two-parter with Amber Balcaen. And don't forget, that will be our project action for this week. There's a little more to it. We had to trim it and kind of make it fit into this national slot. So if you enjoyed that interview, definitely check us out on Project Action. Go over to iTunes, subscribe to that show on Podcast One, and you guys can get that full uncut interview. Also got my Four-Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition powered by Polaris Razor. My guest is going to be Ryan Arciero. You know the Arciero name from IndyCar, also from Baja. Ryan's gone and done the Dakar Rally. He's been a trophy truck driver his entire life, did a lot of open wheel stuff, was actually part owner in an open wheel series as of late. So definitely Ryan Arciero going to be an insane interview on this week's Four-Wheel Parts Down and Dirty Show Off-Road Edition. Definitely want to check that out, dropping tomorrow. Subscribe to that show on iTunes as well. It's the same feed as this show, so go over to iTunes, subscribe to that one, and yeah, I don't know. Website, we got stuff rolling all week long, but this weekend going to be kind of crickets on the event front. Literally nothing other than Amber Balcaen's late model race there with Kyle Busch Motorsports. No Supercross, no IndyCar, no off-road, no short course, no desert. Supercross is not happening, no NHRA. Like literally nobody across the board because of Easter weekend. So hopefully you guys are in your Polaris Razors out enjoying the fun times. If you are this weekend, make sure and hit me up at JimBeaver15 and let me know what you got going on. Make sure and use coupon code JBDirtfish. That'll get you 15% off from our good friends at Dirtfish Rally School. And once again, it's Jim Beaver at mymedic.com. Get you 15% off those badass first aid kits for anything that you could even imagine. Definitely check them out. Whether you're on the water, out on your dirt bike, in the Razor, or just hunting, or just need something for the family wagon, man, they got something for everybody. mymedic.com. I got to give a shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Four-Wheel Parts, My Medic, Vision Wheel, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, MotoShield Pro, Blue Water Resort and Casino, all of our amazing partners here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. And you know what? Give a big shout out to you guys who listen to me each and every week, support each of my shows. We've got 3 of them now. Never would have thought I'd be in this deep to the radio and podcast thing when I started out, but I am, and you guys continue to support me. So make sure and just have a great time this weekend, Easter weekend. Be safe. Definitely, I'll be tuned into Game of Thrones. Tweet me or social media me at JimBeaver15 during the show. Love to know what you guys are thinking when GOT is airing. But have a great weekend. We'll see you next week with more Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor.